A funeral service took place in Mattapan today at the Morning Star Baptist Church for former City Councilor Bruce Bolling. He died last week at age 67. The son of a state senator and the brother of a state representative, Bolling was elected councilor in 1981. In 1986, he became the first African-American to serve as Boston's council president. He was noted for leading the way to passing measures that help create more job opportunities and affordable housing from the city's major developments. After an unsuccessful campaign for mayor, he continued to be active in advancing education reform and opportunities for minority contractors.
I think Bruce wasn't satisfied being the first black president of the Boston City Council. He was about how to help somebody else up, how to help somebody else forward. And that was his sense of service. You see it in his public work and in his professional life. But you also see it in small, private, out-of-the-way expressions of kindness. The time he took to help any number of us here, any number of us, including a shy amateur who had aspirations to be governor one day.
He believed that opportunity should be extended to everyone, and that we had a special duty to the least, the last, and the lost. This wasn't just some nice idea of government. For Bruce, it was a real approach to getting things done that improve the lives of Boston residents. You can see that in his signature commitments. First was the idea of linkage, which requires downtown developers to invest in housing in our neighborhoods. Bruce believed deeply that the economic gains of Boston should be shared with all of our neighborhoods. He was right then, and he's right now.
If anyone in the city of Boston benefited from the Boston Neighborhood Housing Trust as a result of the linkage ordinance authored by Bruce Bolling, they should be thankful that we have more affordable housing in the city of Boston. If anyone has felt discriminated against and went to the Fair Housing Commission, they should be thankful for Bruce Bolling. Bruce Bolling was a man who grew up in Roxbury but never left Roxbury. His concern was to level the playing field and make sure that everyone, whatever your race, whatever your color, whatever your nationality, could benefit from the richness of the city of Boston.
He was a trailblazer, and I ran two of his campaigns, and he had a tough time. But Bruce would not be moved. He made a decision that he wanted to lead this city, and he led it at a very difficult time. And today we see the fruits of his labors with a city that's diversified, loving, and uplifted because of Bruce Bolling.
And last night at the church, Bolling was remembered in more personal terms by family members and people who knew him in politics and the community.
My dad looked at me in my eyes and told me, he was like, I promise you, I'm gonna make your graduation. And the doctors, they didn't think he would make the graduation. They didn't, but he beat the odds. And I remember the day of my graduation. I walked downstairs and got out of bed by himself. He was like, he got his new suit. He was putting his clothes on. He was just smiling. He was so happy that he was able to make my graduation.
I can't think of anyone right now that I wouldn't see as a leader. Seeing him as a young African-American male strive for excellence and always trying to keep the young kids in the community striving for excellence, he was that man.
In my first 2 years in office, there were 5 phone conversations that I had with Bruce that I needed to have with Bruce. And he gave back, and that's who he was. He didn't have to, but he gave back. He looked out for who was coming next. A Puerto Rican kid who grew up in Hyde Park, Massachusetts, who went to the Boston Public Schools, who never dreamed of being a city councilor, had an opportunity to be a city councilor at large because of people like Bruce Bolling.
He was one of the most energetic and caring people in terms of the community that we have had in office.
He was always trying to build bridges between whatever those issues were that sort of separated us.
when he was on the council, he pushed the city to do things that just didn't benefit certain sections of the city. He was a person who said, if people are building, they need to pay dues, they need to give back. He was a great person, and Bruce had a good sense of humor, a wonderful smile, and he didn't hesitate to try to bring people together who were from different camps.
Before he passed on, we became very, very good friends. We used to go out to events together. I'd go and pick him up in my car, and we'd go to those events wherever we needed to go. That is part of the legacy of what happened in this community.